Call of Duty, and I just realized I don't have night mode turned on. There we go. Call of Duty has this really weird new feature. This is from Nathan Grayson over at Kotaku. It says, today, in tiny hyper-specific details that might end up having grave ludonarrative consequences, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019's multiplayer avatars can wear watches. These watches display whatever time it is where you are, opening the door to a grim future in which somebody can land a perfect headshot on you, and as your character's visions fade to black, say, wow, and you're in the Pacific time zone. Weak, man. Here's the actual story. Players noticed the watches in a new teaser trailer that dropped last week ahead of the game's upcoming August 1st multiplayer reveal. Over the weekend, one eagle-eyed player on Reddit noted that the time on the watch didn't match the likely in-game time, prompting a response from art director Joel Emsley. Quote, the watches read the time off of your console or PC. They are real time, not game time, end quote, he said. It's a cool little detail, but one that immediately set off a cascading avalanche of unfounded fears that Infinity Ward prioritized watches that tell the actual time over other elements of the game. Emsley proceeded to put those fears to rest, saying that 2002 World War II shooter Medal of Honor Allied Assault had a similar feature. Quote, fun fact, Medal of Honor Allied Assault, developed by 2015 pre-Infinity War, had a clock shader that did the same thing in 2002, a feature from 17 years ago. An Infinity Ward artist named Jeff Heath used to complain all the time in the art pit that we didn't have it when developing COD, and hey, now we do. Turns out it wasn't that hard to pull off. It adds some complexity to the game, and it didn't hurt development. Win-win, my friends, end quote. That's what he wrote in this post. I think the story is really funny. You can see the picture of the watch here in the Kotaku article, wearing it on the inside of the wrist. My dad was a cop, and I don't know if it has something to do with like people who have to carry guns having their watch like that. But my dad always wears his watch with the face on the inside. And I don't get it. Maybe somebody in the comments or in the chat can explain to me why that's the thing. But here you have your Call of Duty character wearing his watch in a similar way. I always love this. I always love the fallout from these kinds of stories because, in my opinion, like, okay, I'm neither here nor there about this kind of stuff. I think it makes a cool article, but I'm never going to notice it in the game. I'm never going to be eagle-eyed enough to pay attention to the details and catch that it's the same exact time. But I always love when these stories come out and people are like, oh man, I can't believe those developers wasted their time on this game when they could be working on, this feature. And I'm like, do you not understand how massive a team at Infinity Ward, the team that's making Call of Duty Modern Warfare, is huge. And I don't think that they like slammed on the brakes and said, all right, guys, we need to have a meeting. Everybody, all thousands of employees in the boardroom, we're going to stop what you're doing, pencils down, into the boardroom you go. We have a proposal for a feature, and we're going to need everybody's feedback on it. And we're going to need to pull 500 people onto this team to make sure it gets executed. And then we're going to need to, then we're going to need to QA it with another 500 of you. Like, thinking that it pulls all of these development resources off of the actual project to say, we need to put actual watch faces, the actual time in the game. That's not how it works. And I love that that's always the argument that people come to when they see these stories is like, they could have been working on something else. The Descent says it might just be, talking about the watch on the inside, he says, might just be to see the time consistently instead of having to turn your wrist while handling a firearm. Not 100% sure though. And if I'm not mistaken, a lot of watches that like you'd wear in the military like have a compass feature and stuff on them as well. So maybe there's a little bit of being able to see that. Again, I have no idea. Is it something worth looking up? Possibly. Let's see. Why wear watch upside down? Mad Brock says, yeah, it was probably a 3-person team doing it. All right, here we go. This is from specialops.org. Why do special forces operators wear their wristwatches faces inwards? This is from Eric Soff over at special-ops.org. We received some interesting questions about military fashion, especially popular inside special forces. Many operators wearing their watches face inward in this article. I'll try to explain to you why. First of all, it's more convenient to check time, to Descent's point. While aiming to check time, especially while aiming your primary weapon. But there's one reason that precedes this ability to check the time without moving your wrist. Namely, the screen of your watch makes a reflection of any source of light pointing to it. Besides, it doesn't have to be an evident light. Its screen can reflect anything, which of course is a violation of light discipline. Very interesting, guys. This is why everybody tunes in. People tune into the PvA Nightly Rundown, right? The first reason is the malevolent spirit of Larry Johnson, which gives us competitive power and edge over our opponents. But also, because you learn something when you come here, guys. I'm going to teach you something. You're going to come here and you're going to be like, Luke, I'm a freaking idiot. I need to be learned in something. And I'm going to say, pull up a chair, young grasshopper. I'm going to teach you. Mad Brock says, boom, shakalaka. That's Graffiti says, you're the best. No, you guys are the best. Everybody who watches the show on a nightly basis comes in here and interacts with me. You guys are the best. Everybody who watches over on youtube.com/PVA radio, you guys are the best. Everybody who listens to our show on podcast services everywhere, you guys are the best. I'm just a vessel, right? I just pour all of this gaming news into this large noggin of mine and then spout it out of my mouth and teach you guys things. And then when I've got a question that I know everybody else has, I look it up on the internet. And Eric Soft tells us, no, you wear it on the inside of your wrist because of light discipline. You don't want people catching that reflection off of your wrist. Guys, I played that mission in the Medal of Honor reboot on the Xbox 360, right? Where you're looking across that mountain range and you got to pick up the flash of the scopes against the opponent so that you can take them out from a distance. Played that mission. I know all about light discipline. Should have put two and two together. I've got a Navy SEAL mind. Navy SEAL mind. But yeah, if your first reaction when you see a story like that is to say, they could have used those resources to just really overhaul the matchmaking. I'm like, I want you to take those 3 people that had to work on this feature and say, we're going to build an entire game from the ground up and see how far you get with just those 3 individuals. It's spoiler alert, not going to be very far. Not going to be very far.